want to talk about the BENES Act, the Beneficiary Early Notification and Simplification. I don't know exactly what the acronym stands for. Something like that. Act, which is something nobody's talking about and everybody in the Medicare space needs to know about. It's all good news. Stay tuned while I talk about it. So the best news in the BENES Act. Oh, and I would like to pay tribute to the Game of Thrones, a series of which I am apparently one of the only people on the planet that has not watched it. But I'm told it's really good if you like a lot of violent sex scenes. And we all know that I don't, so I don't really know about Game of Thrones, but that's where this is all from. So if you're like me and you hated the fact that if your clients were late to enroll for a Medicare Part B, they had to wait until the general election period. And I hate to throw that acronym around, the GEP, because 1 in 100 agents is familiar with that acronym, the GEP. They all just know, oh, you got late Part B, you sign up the first quarter of the year. That is actually called the general election period, the GEP. The BENES Act, yeah, here we go, talking a lot of acronyms, stay with me. The BENES Act was passed in December of 2020 with all the COVID and the holidays. Probably missed it. And we haven't really talked about it. So the good news is you haven't missed anything because most of it does not phase in until January of 2023. The extra good news is that we're getting away from this craziness that if you were one of, I think I saw it was like over 1 million people a year that screw up and don't get Part B. Then they're stuck. They have to wait till the general election period, that first quarter of the year. Well, then when you sign up, it won't start until 6 months later, until July 1st. And that elongates your period without coverage at full risk and grows your penalty. The BENES Act gets rid of that. If you sign up in January, it will start February 1st. If you sign up in February, it will start March 1st. If you sign up in March, it will start April 1st. So the first day of the next month. I don't know why I use that as an example, because it's no longer the first quarter of the year. They moved it back to the last quarter of the year. So it'll be actually October 15th through December 31st. So a little bit shorter than the full last quarter of the year. But I think that makes a little bit more sense too. And it's all good news, right? Because we don't want this big long delay. So BENES Act, that's coming, it's passed, it's the law, but it does not phase in until 2023. Also in this legislation is more notification to be sent out to people getting ready to approach Medicare. So when people or when they turn 60, so between 60 and 64, that CMS and Social Security will send them a lot more information about the enrollment time periods, about the late penalties, and hopefully prevent so many people falling into this late Part B lifetime penalty trap. Other things in the legislation of note are the fact that CMS and the Health and Human Services have been authorized to make a special exception if you have a late Part B extraordinary circumstance, that you could call Medicare, call Social Security, and say, hey, this is what went down. I don't want the Part B penalty. Give me a SEP that would then start the month after applying for that SEP. So when you have clients, which we all do, that fall into that trap, they can call and ask for their own individual SEP for extraordinary circumstances. The last thing in the BENES Act that is of note to you that work in the under 65 market is that people that qualify for Medicare due to ESRD, under 65, they have only been allowed to remain on Medicare for 36 months past their transplant. Then they're falling off in a hole and they can't afford their immunosuppressant drugs. So the law changes that so that they can stay on Medicare longer. And of course, if you want to read all the details, you can Google it and you'll see that it's all been there. And this is the kind of stuff that at NAHU that we really wanted to put in the NAHU exam as an alternative to AHIP. Again, we didn't get all the carriers to accept it. So right now, most of you are taking AHIP instead of NAHU. But if you are taking the NAHU exam, bless you, you will get a year's worth of education free. And all of us FMOs that are on the council, we're all farming that out. So I'll be doing a seminar in the spring on Social Security. So it'll be free. Anybody that's a member of NAHU, you guys can tune into that. And then all the other FMOs, we're all chipping in to do more education. So Rebecca's not here this week. She is at the United American Eagles Conference up in Mackinac. She had to take 3 little planes to get there. She hates little planes. So assuming that she makes it back safely, she will be back next week. And if you have questions, hit me in the comments, call your marketer, or email us at Gord Marketing. If you are not currently a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. We are really close to hitting our 7,000 mark here, and we could use your help. Just click on the button. Thanks.